Hi, everybody. This is a quick follow-up from the video that you watched yesterday. Just a quick reminder, and let me pull it up on my screen here. Yesterday in class, or if you were in quarantine, you should have, let me find it just a second. You should have looked at, oh my gosh, so slow. There we go. You should have looked at the We're Starting a Project, should have read all the directions, and then taken a look at the video. Okay, the video is really, really important to watch. If you haven't watched the video, you need to do that before watching this video. Okay, make sure you understood and did what was on Tuesday before you watch this one. Okay, but basically, what I want to do today is just remind you of what you're going to be doing. So the goal for the rest of the week, is to pick your element and to start typing in research. In fact, your research should be done by Tuesday of next week. We have a half day Friday. We have no school Monday, so you've got lots of time to work on the research. Okay, so here are the things that you need to do. Number one, you need to make sure that you looked at this element list. So let me put this up here again. And that you picked an element. And if you're at home especially, that you emailed Mrs. Pasico with your name and the element that you would like to do. Again, you really, 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 really should pick one of the ones on the sheet. These are the better ones that have more information and a lot easier to find. Okay. Let me know and I'll put your name up on the sheet. Okay. As soon as you've gotten approved and the thumbs up from me, you can then start your research. So you need to pick one right away. Okay. Your research is going to occur on this sheet. And if you watched the video yesterday, you'll notice that it's right here, my elements. Okay. So these are the things that you need to find. This is where you're going to type in what you find. So a reminder, for your element, you need to find all of these things, all the basic information about the periodic table, how the element is used, good or bad ways, the properties of the element. So what does it look like? What does it act like? What year was your element discovered? Where is your element's hideout, or where would it be found in nature? So some elements are found like underground or in a mountain. Some are found in space. Some are found in the air. Where would we find it? Okay. The next one, and this one can kind of be tricky, so do your best on this. What other elements does your element combine with? So find out what other elements it might mix with that makes stuff, and what happens when it makes things. So if it combines with something, does it suddenly explode? Does it cause it to lose power? Does it heat up? Does it create something that makes a really strong metal? What does it combine with, and what does that make? And then the last one, is your element generally good or bad for humans, and why? How does it help us, or how does it hurt us? Okay, so that's what you're trying to fill out. All right. As you are doing this, you do not need to go in order. So you do not need to do section 1 and then section 2 and then section 3. You really should be bouncing all over the place, because here's what I recommend that you do. You go back to this, and I know it looks a little different. I think it starts with your name, but you go back to where it says the superhero directions were. And if you scroll down past the directions page, you'll notice that the second page is research links. These research links, I've already gone to Google and looked up the best ones. So it's really important that you don't Google stuff during this project unless you want extra information. I would start by checking all of these. So let's say I'm doing hydrogen. I'm going to check this website and look up hydrogen. And when it finally takes me there, I'm going to click and find hydrogen on the website. And then honestly, the best thing to do is just to start reading. Read a paragraph at a time, look at the information that's there, and find out where it should go. So like here it talks about how this element is in the sun, and look at it, makes the sun burn so brightly. So I would go back and have my note sheet out, and I would go and then say, okay, where could that possibly? Well, that's on how it's used. So then I might say hydrogen is used in the sun. It makes it burn really brightly, and I might write it right here. Okay, you fit it in wherever it goes. So you do not have to go in order. okay? I would recommend that you use 4 to 5 websites because sometimes you can find a lot of good information, sometimes there's not. But your goal is to get this whole sheet filled out with information so that you know what to do. You're not making your superhero's name or drawing or anything else. For the rest of the week, you are working on getting as much information as you can in this section using those websites. If you've used all these websites up and you're like, I have used all these and I still can't find information, then you can Google or look at things, okay, that are different. But these are really the best sites to go to, okay? All right. One last thing about that I want to show you. What am I looking for in terms of the note sheet? Well, in terms of the note sheet, let me show you an example. So this is written out, and I know it's not typed, but it's basically the same. Okay. Let me show you really quickly what I consider bad examples and what's better. Okay. So if we look at, I want to make sure that I have this whole section filled out. This I would consider bad because I didn't find really basic information. So try to fill out all the sections. Okay, let's look at this section. This section says, ask, how is the element used? A bad example would just be listing things. It's used in the bones. It's used in the teeth. That's a good start, but it's really, really basic. Instead, what you want to do is have descriptions. So like I'm doing calcium, for example. Look at, I didn't just write what it's used in, I described. So I said in limestone buildings like the Colosseum, it combines with carbon and oxygen to make mortar for strong buildings. So I'm really taking the information that I learned and putting more detail in there. Okay. I'm not writing one word because then somebody might ask you, well, how is calcium good for your teeth? Or how is it used in your teeth? And you'll be like, I don't know, teeth. You have to be able to answer them with more than one word. So try to really get a nice description. Okay, same thing goes for down here. There's a lot of things you can find about your element. I mean, look at this whole thing. What color is it? What shape? What does it smell or taste like? Is it smooth or tough, bendable or rough, shiny or dull? What's the melting point? What's the freezing point? Basically, anything you find out about what it looks like or how it acts can go in this box. So there should be a lot. If I see like 3 or 4 things written down, that's bad. This is more of what I want to see, the side that's on the right. Okay. So you're finding good, detailed information that's actually going to help you. Okay. Let's go down to another example. This part I didn't really do. Let's go down to another example here. This one says, what other elements does your element combine with and what happens when it combines? Does it make it stronger, weaker? What happens? So here's an example of a bad example. Combines with chloride. Or what if you just wrote down chloride? That's bad because you can't then explain what it does when it combines with chloride. Here's a better example. Reacts with lots easily, often forms with things that turn out to be white, combines with chloride to make liquid added to pools. So like chlorine for pools, okay? So look at it, it's combining and telling what it actually makes. Detail is much better. Because if I said, oh, what does it happen when it combines with chloride? Oh, it combines with chloride. You need to know what kind of happens with it, okay? So when you're reading and looking, include those extra details. One last example at the bottom. Is this element generally good or bad? You will not receive a good grade if you just write good or helps you. That's kind of an F answer. That's not descriptive enough. Okay. Instead, try to find out it's good or bad, but why? So look at this one. It says needed for stronger bones. It's added to soil to help farmers grow crops. It's in nerve cells and muscles, need calcium. See how I'm really expanding on how it's good for people. Okay. So notice how in the bad example, very little notes, not lots of detail. In the better example, including stuff that's in the material. The more you find, the more strong your overall project's going to be. And really, the more options you're going to have when you go to make your superhero / supervillain. Okay. So that's what we are working on the rest of the week, getting good research. Okay. Good luck, everybody. Hope you're doing okay.